everyone. My name is Hosna and I'm doing my PhD in the Faculty of Education at the University of Regina. In this video, our participants are giving us some tips.
Yeah, it's interesting when we think about tips because I think sometimes as graduate students ourselves, the things we had to learn the hard way are things that we can now say as tips to other people. I think for me, like not even academically, but I think the idea of self-care or downtime for graduate students is really important because I know my first semester as a PhD student, of course, there's pressure and you're trying to figure out the expectations and that sort of thing, but it can be almost become overwhelming where your whole life becomes your PhD.
Yeah.
And I remember a prof in one of my classes once saying is like a PhD doesn't have to be your life work. And I found that so powerful because, we still have family, we still have friends, we still need to have our hobbies and the things that bring us passion in other areas of our life. So my tip, I guess, isn't really even academic, but just that idea of planning some time for downtime and for self-care and to just hang out with a friend or have a, I guess in these times, have a Zoom call with a friend or with a family member. I know for me, like I love beading, and my first semester I didn't even pick up my beads and do any projects. And then I remember that first Christmas break, I like that joy and like happiness I had from picking up my beads again. And so now I schedule that as a part of my schedule. Because I think you have to be really intentional about when you're going to do those things or you'll forget about them.
Mhm.
And so you have to learn about balance. And I also work full time. So I've really had to learn what that looks like to balance work and school and other commitments. So, yeah, that would be my first tip. And then my second tip, and again, I guess I'm looking through this in the lens of the pandemic, but doing a PhD online and not being in class, you don't get to meet a lot of other graduate students. And so, like, one thing that I've really enjoyed is being a part of the BIPOC advisory group because all of a sudden you get to see all these other BIPOC students that are on campus. And I think as racialized students, we often do feel alone on campus. And so those spaces are so important for us to know that there are other racialized students that are out there doing the same thing that you're doing. And it's so comforting to know that they're there. And then the other thing is something I found really beneficial my last semester is I joined a writing group. And so 4 days before the sessions, you would submit your work, and
Mhm.
an editor sort of fixed it up for you, and then you would meet with other graduate students and go over the papers together.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's just really helped me become a better writer. And I know the APA guide a lot more better because I did that program. And so I think look for those external opportunities that aren't your classes where you can connect with other graduate students.
Wow. They are really helpful. Thank you so much for sharing them. I do agree that as a new student, if you want to take a new program, especially if you're taking master or PhD, so it's such a kind of new experience for everyone. And it is difficult at the beginning to have a kind of balance between our personal life and the new program that we just taken. And I believe that it takes time, but at the end of the day, we could make a balance between those activities that we like to have in our life and also the program that we are taking. And also in terms of like community, I do agree with you that it's really helpful having a kind of supportive community because we are all human beings. We like to share our ideas, to take advice from different people who are in the same boat like us. And thank you so much for mentioning also the writing group.
As a matter of fact, what I have to tell them is that they have made a good choice coming to the University of Regina. That's a very good choice they have made. And I want to let them know that we have faculty and staff who are willing to help. And also, I want them to know that it's good to prioritize their program. They have to know what matters most in their life. And they try not to wait till deadline, because most students will wait till deadline and they will always request for extension, which actually doesn't help at all. So, and also I would like to tell them also not to believe everything they had out there. They should find some fact by themselves. Like people might tell you, oh, don't meet this, don't associate with this person, don't associate this with this person. This one is a racist, this one is this one is that. So most time we carry those kind of mentality and it affects the way we relate with people. Try to find out if this person is really a racist by yourself. Don't just assume. So like, those are some of the things they should understand. Those are some of the advice I would give them. And also they should try and locate all the major services they need in their papers, the services they need to succeed, try to meet the right people, because they should know who is right and who is not the right. Someone that is not right, the right person is someone that doesn't know what you're looking for. Your friends should be people that are into academics, people that will help you strengthen your paper, how to write paper, how to do this, how to do that, how to navigate through all this, how to get some services that will help you to succeed in your program. So that the kind of people you should associate with at this point. So maybe when you're done, you can just go to town, because not now, because people will just, when they come, I've arrived Canada. So it's time to kind of explore the series. You can go to Paris, you can do all these things. Yeah. I'm not saying that people should not go to Paris, right? But try to know what you want. Try to order your priority. Make sure you get this first, then you can go to town. You can do whatever you like with your life. So it's a kind of free society, yeah. But that liberty should not make you, don't allow that to affect your program. Get it done first. Yeah, get it done. That's very important.
Yeah, thank you, Carlo. They are really good tips. And I believe that you're right. And we need a kind of community. We need to reach out people who are in charge, or maybe find a good friends. And I think there are some communities at UAVAR that can help us, like BIPOC group, that people can meet each other and talk to each other, share their experiences and help each other. Thank you so much for sharing them.
I think I would recommend building a community network immediately, whether it's other fellow graduate students. Again, having to do everything online meant I didn't really get that same experience where I could sit with, colleagues or classmates in class, or get to know people, or, go for coffee and things like that. So it was really hard for me to build those connections, but I think establishing those right away, finding support networks right away, even outside of the university, having friends or family support you along the way is crucial, because I know my family has supported me every step of the way. And had it not been for them, I don't know that I would still be continuing this journey. And then I think the other tip that I would give is that the imposter syndrome is super real. Yes, you are capable of pursuing your master's and doing well in it. And so I think anytime that self-doubt comes up, to try and, balance and to counter those negative self thoughts, because I think it's a really tough process, especially for racialized students, to be in the world of academia and not feel like they are worth it. But you are. And so I think just to believe in yourself and to really hold true to your thoughts and your beliefs is also vital for success, at least individual success, I would say.
Oh, yeah. And speaking of like community, you talked about like having the support from your family. How about those students who are international students? How do you think that they can find these connections and they can make these connections? Do you have any tips or strategies that can help them?
I have, like, I'm not an international student, but I can't imagine how hard if it would be to leave everything and everyone you've known behind and to come here. My parents were, we all immigrated, I should say, actually, when I was really young. And so I know, like, my parents having to leave behind their family and their home country and move to this foreign country that's very unfamiliar was really tough on them. So I can understand that it would be a completely different change. And I don't know how you do it without your family present, but I would say, and I would suggest to reach out to all of the different like community associations. I know even on campus, we've got a few different cultural associations here and there within the larger community of Regina. There's lots of different cultural associations here. And I feel like personally, if I were to move away to a different country, I would look for people who share the same cultural or religious or ethnic, similarities as I do, just to kind of make it feel a little bit more like home. And so to seek out those folks and to know that there will always hopefully be someone around to support you and to help you feel comfortable in this new environment. And then other than that, like I have no idea how hard it would be to live here with your family all over the world and even having to deal with like the time difference of trying to stay connected. But I think for me personally, just trying to stay connected to my parents and to my siblings, whether that's through FaceTime or through texting them throughout the day, just kind of grounds me whenever I can. And so I feel like maybe those might be things that might be helpful. But again, I don't know. I'm not an international student, so I don't really have much expertise in that area.
Yeah, and I think that there are so many, as Aisha mentioned, so many different programs that we do have on the campus. And one of them is BIPOC community that we do have in the Faculty of Education. And I think it's a great support for international students and for all in all for racialized students. So the two tips that I can share, one is about time management. Time management is about a skill, like it's a kind of art. And I think if you want to really be successful in PhD program or master program, you need to be able to have a good time management skill. Why? Because right now I work, I study, I'm a wife, I'm a mom. So there are a lot of different responsibilities that I have. If I do not know how to manage my time, it is pretty difficult. And I think it's a kind of chaos in my life. It causes a kind of chaos if I don't have time management. So time management, so by time management, let me be clear. I don't mean that every day should be the same. Like you have to start your day for instance, 7, and you have to do this, then you have to do that, then you have to finish your day with that. It's all the matter of priorities, and different days are different. We need to recognize that what are our priorities and manage my time based on them. And the second tip that I would like to share with you is about the two skills that are really important in our PhD or master program. And they are reading and writing. So as for writing, I would say that you need to be a good reader, and you need to know how to. You need to read about writing first. First, you need to know how to write, and then you start writing. And I highly recommend you write even a small paragraph every day. It is really important. The other skills is reading, and reading comes, I think, prior to writing. And the more you read, the better you can write. But how the way that we can the way that we read is also important. Sometimes before I started reading a book from the beginning to the end, all the sentences. Some books really need to be read like this, but not all of them. And sometimes we need to only get the gist of the text. So you don't need to read from the beginning to the end of a book or maybe an article. And it's a kind of skill that you will learn while you practice. Then you can, right now, I know that This is the book that I need to read it from A to Z. This is the book that I only need to read the introduction and a kind of conclusion and just go through it and have a kind of a skimming and scanning to find the gist of the text.
Yeah, as for me, I learned from my program is that keep studying, especially to try to find out what you are interested in to learn. For example, even though you are course-based, you really need to know what you really like to learn, the points and some academic interests. It's helpful for you to guide you to learn something and try to read more books, try to read more articles, try to communicate with your supervisor or mentor as soon as much as possible, because it's very important to try to find your interest, and more importantly is to keep studying every day or a daily basis or a way like that, because it's really important to charge yourself, make yourself enriched in knowledge, and to like for besides the books, besides the knowledge you learn from the courses, you also need to learn many other things, like joining the academic conferences and our workshops held by our faculty is very important. And I'd like to welcome you to join our group, our workshops, our conferences by the Faculty of Education. That's very helpful to enrich your knowledge, enrich your social skills, and academic backgrounds like that.
Yes, exactly. I do agree with you that as a graduate student, we need to educate ourselves either through like reading those some articles or joining different programs, workshops, and conferences can help us a lot, because like our brain is like a muscle and we have to improve it every day. We have to work on it every day for the purpose like of our life, which currently is the graduate program that we are taking. Thank you for sharing these beautiful thoughts.
That one was really difficult to select, because there are so many that we can talk about, but since we don't have enough time, I would say, like I mentioned, like checking emails frequently, like that's the major tip, to be honest. So I won't repeat that one. And the second thing is the BIPOC group that we have right now. I think you've mentioned that as well. We didn't have this back then. I think that's why my experiences were really hard back then. But now, because we have a very strong support system with the BIPOC, I would suggest that people, like students who identify as whether Black or Indigenous, take advantage of this program, because even if you have like a really bad day, having someone to vent with and bounce ideas with, that is really helpful, to be honest. Unlike just being alone, because I can imagine for international students who come here all alone without any family, any friends, it can be really traumatizing. But this group is really, it's very great because we meet once a month, and it's just an informal group. We share ideas, we can, so I would suggest that we take advantage of those. And also I've realized that it's easy, Hosna, for us to register for stuff online, like really good programs, but we don't attend. That's one of the tips that I've observed. We just register, but then for us to have that effort to attend those events, it's really difficult. So my tip is to, these programs are designed to help us students, so we can just take advantage of them. They're for free and they're easily accessible, and everything is done online. So I don't see any I wouldn't say excuse because people have really different issues, in life. And I would just say, just take advantage of those services and just be proud of who you are right now. I think we are our own enemies. I think you've heard that before. Like, we are too hard on ourselves, guys. So please just give yourself a break and give yourself a pat. Like, you know what, just be proud of where you are now. You've made it. The fact that you're a graduate student, it shows that you made it. Like, you traveled some travel days to come to Canada, and you can still do it. So just be proud of where you are right now. And don't be shy like Amanda was the first day. There's no such thing as asking dumb questions in class. So just be proud and brave, and and have fun at the same time, because school can be stressful if you don't have fun. You need to give yourself some break sometimes. Self-care. I really attended that workshop that Twyla designed for us. Was really good. Like, it made me realize that once in a while I have to, take care of myself as well. Like, just giving myself
Art therapy, am I right?
art therapy. Yes. Yeah, give yourself a break.
Yeah.
That's the biggest tip.
That's wonderful, and I do agree with you that we have to respect ourselves a lot, because there is
Mhm.
only one of us in this world.
Yes.
So, and doing a graduate program is not easy,
Mhm.
and not everyone can do that. And we have to really be proud of ourselves,
Yes.
that we're capable of doing that.
Mhm.
So yeah, thank you for mentioning that as well.
Yeah, so there's a big change when you go from an undergraduate student. You really are sort of a consumer of research. You're reading research. You're making thoughtful decisions about its impact and its application. I think what graduate students you need to remind themselves, and as a form of encouragement, is you're going to be, if you're doing a thesis or a dissertation, you're going to be producing research. You're going to be producing ideas that are impactful. They may not change the world, but they might spark an idea. They might contribute to a movement. They might make the world a better place.
Exactly.
My encouragement comes from who I am and the work I do as a critical race scholar. We've got challenges in front of us, not just today or yesterday, but we've got challenges, over the next month, a year, to remind ourselves that, the things that we do actually matter. We may not see the effects of our work immediately, and sometimes they don't actually see them in our lifetime. But we have to hang on to that hope and optimism that we're creating a better tomorrow, a healthier today, that the work that we do is going to create pathways and opportunities for so many people who don't get the privilege and advantage that we have, even with all of our sacrifice. So I remind graduate students, you represent a community. I don't care if you're Indigenous, racialized, or white. You represent a community of people. Go out there and represent well. Do the things that you need to do to make all of the people who have contributed to getting you to where you are. Because as much as we want to sometimes fool ourselves that we're doing it on our own, we never are.
Yeah.
We never get to where we are by ourselves. And so, it's a form of encouragement. You've got all sorts of people you can't see and you don't know who are behind you. I mean, they're lifting you up. Feel good about that. Feel good about that. Feel encouraged by it. Don't feel like you're going to disappoint them, and so it's go out there and make a difference. I tell in particular, people who are graduate students, masters and PhD, but I do say to undergraduate students, remind yourself you're a public intellectual, right? So you have this intellectual capacity in terms of your thoughtfulness, but you have a responsibility to step into the public and, to meet untruth with truth, to meet fact and fiction with science, even social science, you know, to add beauty to the world. If you're in creative endeavors, make the world more beautiful. You know, we don't need more darkness. Darkness comes whether we want it or not. You know, so be encouraged that you have this opportunity to make the world a little healthier, to make it a little bit better. And don't forget that.